The problem with science and technology, in some areas people do not actually have the subject knowledge, and that leads to the fact that then they're not confident. And then it normally ends up with either environmental study or the living world. But some of the other sort of deeper science areas somehow always seem to be left behind. One of our learnings in this process was that STEM, which is often seen as science, technology, engineering and mathematics, includes problem solving, computational thinking, design thinking, innovation, creativity. All those things combined actually makes a comprehensive STEM program. So we started off by doing research, looking at existing programs, equipment that's available, frameworks that are being used around the world, and then we developed an implementation program, which started off by defining some of the key terms and going hand in hand with that develop student agency to make our students develop an interest in science and technology, but also make them better learners.
At the moment we're focusing on South Africa because we've got a few students from South Africa here. Here are going on a South African safari with Dash, and they're trying to code Dash through this maze to get him to visit all the South African animals. They have got a Blockly app on their iPad, and they're putting in codes to make him go forwards and turn corners, and he's even celebrating at corners to turn lights on and say, "Yippee, I've made it."
We wanted to be really clear about our deliberate acts of teaching and the language that we were all using through the school so that all the staff and all the kids understand what we're saying when we're talking computational thinking, when we're thinking about STEM, when we're looking at questioning. What does that look like? What does that sound like? What does that mean for us and our children?
So at the moment it's doing all those really fine lines.
Welcome to our STEM shed. We are incredibly lucky to be in a space like this. We've got a laser cutter running, but we also have 3D printers. The kids can access their devices, they can design, they can create things for the 3D printer. The whole point of having our technology program running with all this equipment is that we have aprons that are cut on the machine so that our learners can see the importance of why you might be using the equipment and for them themselves thinking about their own futures.
With the laser cutter, we cutted out all the shapes for the aprons and all the straps, and the 3D printer we made buttons to go on our aprons, and then with the sewing machines it helps us to do the hemming a lot faster.
Wait, we'll put that in front of it.
We haven't tested out this coding because I just put it in.
So we're trying to do different codes to get the motion sensor working.
And I hope that it works because all the other ones have failed.
Yeah, it works.
It says this is way far back. Yeah. That's cool.
In our first year of implementation, we basically had one teacher from each one of our pods, and we would, during one term, would provide professional development for them, and then the next term they would take that specific area and lead the development within their pod, so the other teachers would learn off them.
Excellent, boys. I wonder if you could build anything else onto there. What could be another step? Maybe it could do something when it senses danger in front of it.
It could say something.
Once they realised that it isn't as complicated as you might think, and that there are ways of doing it at a level that both teachers and young students can deal with, then it became a lot easier.
What do we need them to know to be able to be successful?
They need to know what biometrics are,
Oh.
like measuring things to do with the body.
What other sort of biometric measures are there that we could bring in? Because, this can be so relevant for our kids when you're looking at devices and thumbprints and eye scans. They're going to really relate to that stuff.
The student agency is going to be impressive because they've already got all of this technology right at their fingertips, haven't they?
We've had really positive feedback from kids. They love getting the hands-on, being creative, problem-solving, collaborating together, working alongside each other and trying new things. And the really cool thing about it is that the kids have been teaching the teachers.
Miss Davies knows most of things, but sometimes we need to, debug sometimes and find out the error.
We've got children teaching each other, and we've got tuakana taina time. It's not just a one-off, it's what we do here every day.
Can you do it without coding if you just remote control all the way around? And then you'll know if it worked for the coding as well.
So one of the influences we saw was definitely in writing, especially with our boys, because they have now something substantial to base their writing on. And if they were coding something, they would have to actually write that code as well, so that transfer of information from one thing to another was seamless. So for them, being able to tell their stories through a STEM lens was really, really powerful.
When I grow up, I probably want to be a writer. It's really fun. And I don't know if it'll be as fun in high school because they make this like really fun, really entertaining, all of that stuff.
Girls are some of our best coders, so it also shows them that there are other career opportunities for them in the future. And especially for our senior students thinking of going off to high school, it prepares them to really take control of their learning.